Hey, welcome back to the Dr. Jim Cares podcast. My name is Dr. Augustine from Head to Wellness, and today we're going to be talking about a very important topic: fatigue, tiredness, and exhaustion. Do you have low energy? Are you tired and fatigued? You can't get out of bed. You can't do your day. We're going to talk about these things. And we're going to have a special structure to this because we're going to talk about 10 different reasons why you can be tired and fatigued. What are these causes? For each of these causes, we're then going to talk about, well, what causes the causes, as well as what type of testing would you need to do to figure this out, as well as I want to give you some solutions for it. So I hope this helps. Take some notes or save and bookmark this. Subscribe to our channel would be great, as well as give us a thumbs up on YouTube. That'd be great. So let's start off by talking about the number one, which is stress. Who doesn't have stress? And some of you, I've talked a lot about stress because it's such a big deal. It's pervasive. Just drive on the freeway, you have stress. If you're a parent and you have kids, you have stress. If you're a wife or a husband, you have stress. There are lots of reasons for it. Job, money, watch the news, the economy. There's all sorts of reasons to have stress. And the problem with that is the organ system that's affected would be the adrenal glands, the adrenals. So as far as causes, stress, of course, can cause low energy because the first symptom that typically people will experience from having stress and blowing out, causing problems to your adrenal glands is low energy. You start to lose your get up and go, to the point where it can start to affect your hormones, especially for ladies. Ladies will have PMS when they're in their cycles. They can have PMS, and then the other side of it, if you have menopausal symptoms, classically that's an adrenal problem as the root cause behind it. So if that's the case, then what type of testing should you do? Testing would be, and it's an amazing test, it's called a Dutch hormone test. Basically, it's called a Dutch test because it stands for Dried Urine Test for Hormones. It shows the adrenal glands, their hormones, then how your adrenal glands actually make your female hormones and male hormones as well. So one side of the result will come out and to be the testosterone levels and how that all works with DHEA. The other side is going to be the female hormones, which is going to be estrogen and progesterone, and then all the fractions of estrogen, plus how well you're able to metabolize those hormones, and are you at risk for moving towards cancer risk and more, a bunch more. This is literally a 17-page report that's absolutely amazing and really probably the best and most accurate way to test your hormones. Not only your female hormones, but also your adrenal hormones, which create your female hormones. And men too, testosterone as well. Because some ladies can be creating more testosterone than estrogen and vice versa. Some men can be creating more estrogen and progesterone than testosterone. So not a good thing. Stress. So what would be the solutions there? So number one, first I would get to a functional medicine person like myself, someone who actually does really good testing, like the Dutch hormone test. Then we do a report of findings, sit down and go over all of the results from that. And out of that will come solutions. And classically, many times the solutions can be, ultimately you want to fix the adrenal glands because that's going to be your ultimate solution, as opposed to taking bioidentical hormones or even hormones prescribed by your medical doctor. And I get it. I understand that at times you need to literally shut down the symptoms to even function as a human being. However, you really need to fix the adrenal glands. So adrenal gland solutions would be, there's adrenal desiccated. It's a supplement to start to get your adrenal glands to work properly and literally help to even just shut down hot flashes for ladies. There is a bunch of adaptogenic herbs that are amazing, such as ashwagandha. There's rhodiola, there's Korean ginseng, there's licorice, and a whole bunch of others in these various different products that are just amazing to help strengthen your adrenal glands. And when your adrenal glands come back on board, your energy comes back up. Good thing. Hope this helps, but think about stress, and always, always, always we should support our adrenal gland function. There's some other ways to support adrenal gland function as well, which we'll talk about, and we're going to get to in a little bit here. Second reason for exhaustion, fatigue, tiredness, and also a fluctuation of your energy throughout the day would be blood sugar. Blood sugar is another really pervasive problem, and you go to the doctor and the doctor will give you your result for your A1C test, your hemoglobin A1C test, and it's good. Don't worry, you're good. You don't have diabetes. And the unfortunate thing, and many medical doctors will just tell you you are not in a state of disease. And that's not good. You don't want to wait till you're in a state of disease to know you have problems in these areas. Better to check it ahead of time. So insulin resistance and prediabetes problems are causing damage to your heart and blood vessels. It causes heart disease. Big problem. But also your ability to use blood sugar properly is critical for your energy. So this is why many times after a meal you can get really sleepy tired. Why? Because you're not able to process that meal effectively. Secondly, that 3 o'clock mark in the afternoon, that's when everybody starts to kind of dip and they're sleepy tired and groggy, and well, it's because your blood sugar tends to roller coaster throughout the day, and that's not good. So blood sugar is another thing that should be tested, but here's the thing. Don't just get your A1C test and think that you're good. You want a fasting blood glucose test, fasting. Number 2, yes, your A1C test may help, but then number 3, you want a fasting insulin. Fasting insulin, really critical, because insulin regulation, insulin control is really important. And then there's the rest of it. So this is the holistic version of this, is you want to make sure that these organ systems that stabilize and control your blood sugar are in good shape. Those would be, of course, your pancreas, because it's the one that produces insulin and glucagon and things of that sort to really keep your blood sugar more stable. But secondly, your liver is also critical, because it's the thing that takes excess blood sugar and stores it as glycogen, which is stored sugar, and also will mobilize that, will put it back into your bloodstream as sugar when your blood sugar goes too low. And then you have the adrenal glands in the back. They're stress glands, so imagine that you have too much stress, because most people do. They're not working so well, and most people have liver issues because of who doesn't eat starch and sugar. Most people eat too much starch and sugar. Matter of fact, I would recommend avoiding it completely if you want to really restore your liver function. And what's the big thing that shows up for liver? Oh, your cholesterol's up. Well, cholesterol has nothing to do with causing heart disease. Happens to be present during heart disease, but it's caused classically not by eating eggs and bacon, but by eating starch, sugar. And the third part is alcohol. Starch, sugar, alcohol beats up your liver, raises your cholesterol. Don't worry about cholesterol. You need cholesterol for brain function, because your brain's over 60% cholesterol fat. Ladies, you need cholesterol for your hormones to be right. Same with men as well. If you drop your cholesterol to 120, 130, even less, you cannot have decent hormones, period. Cholesterol is critical. So if you got these organ systems having problems as well, you're going to be tired. So fixing your blood sugar means that you have to address those things. The 3 tests I would recommend: fasting blood sugar, A1C test, as well as a fasting insulin test. Let's move to the next one that causes tiredness, fatigue, and exhaustion, and that would be sleep. Sleep plays a huge role in many aspects. Matter of fact, your full body health, sleep is critical. Now for ladies, 8 to 9 hours of sleep, truly, to restore your health, to heal up, repair your body, and to actually function normally during the day. So what happens when you lose sleep? Because many, if not most people, 6 hours or less, ladies and men both, 6 hours or less, you start to have brain fog, you start to have memory issues, you start to be short-tempered. You can't function very well throughout your day, and people think that you're kind of mean and nasty and, too snippy. So sleep is really important to restore your health. And so what do you do for sleep? First off, I would say monitor it. Obviously, if your body's not getting enough rest, you're going to be tired, right? That's the big thing. That's the elephant in the room with sleep. You're going to be tired. Plus, you're going to have all those other things, such as brain issues not working right, and memory. You start worrying about your memory, that sort of thing. But from a testing perspective, what should you do? Well, right here, we have the Apple Watch, or we have other Fitbits and things like that we can monitor our metrics, and they have sleep trackers. Very simply, get yourself some way to measure and monitor your sleep and see if you truly are getting that 8 to 9 hours, ladies. Men, I would say 6 to 8, preferably closer to 8, and you will see so much of a difference. If you got committed to 1 week of getting, ladies, 8 hours plus a night, you would see the world entirely different. Sleep is a very critical aspect of your health. So solutions are get more sleep. Try it out, even for a week, because if you do this and you find out, wow, I've really been missing out, and you start saying to yourself, no wonder, gosh, I'm feeling better, I have more energy, I'm less fatigued, certainly my joints feel better, I'm not as inflamed, my brain is really crystal clear, it's working really well. I think you'll like to have better sleep. It really will make a huge difference for you. Number 4 would be gastrointestinal infection, GI tract infection. And many, if not most people today have complaints within their gastrointestinal tract. Digestive complaints, anything from acid reflux, and of course they like to say gastroesophageal reflux, and they put that word on disease. It's not a disease. Have a lot of stress, be way far away from the age of 23, and it shuts down your digestive enzyme production because you're too far into that stress side of your nervous system. You cannot produce good digestive enzymes if you're in that stress mode, and most everybody today is, for the reasons that we talked about earlier. So shut down your digestive enzymes up top, and then of course the food manufacturers, the people that grow our food and manufacture our food, they're not into it to keep you healthy. They're into it to make money, so they cut corners and they don't make things that is really super healthy for you. So you do have to pay a pretty penny to get better food, like organic foods. And I'm going to be doing another podcast very, very soon on how should you eat? What types of foods should you eat? I don't want to call it a diet, but if you can make it a lifestyle change, it will make huge and massive differences in your energy, in your full body health. That's really amazing. We'll talk about that soon, next podcast. Gastrointestinal infection. So imagine you don't have enough stomach acid in your stomach because of stress. Then what happens, that's your first line of defense against infection. So take that down quite several notches, then eat sushi. Hopefully people don't get too mad at me out there, but if you're going to eat raw fish, you're very, very, very likely to get infection. Other things, vegetables and salads, where are they grown? In the ground. So also very likely to get infections. And I'm not saying anything bad about them. Their nutrient content is awesome. It's really, really good, but you just need good stomach acid to prevent infection. But imagine that you have this chronic gastrointestinal infection, lack of enzymes. Every time you eat food, you're bloated, you have stomach pain, you're constipated, or you have diarrhea. These are all major indicators of that. And every time your immune system is active, now we're getting to the point of how can this cause you to be tired? Immune system, heightened activity, you're going to be tired. Now, why would that be? Every time you have any kind of infection at all, colds, flus, you're never full of energy. It's always the opposite. You're extremely tired and fatigued. So imagine having a chronic gastrointestinal tract problem, digestive problem, you're just going to be chronically tired. And this starts to affect your mood because you make most of your brain chemicals in your gut. You could be grumpy, grouchy, moody as well. So gastrointestinal infection. That leads to the next one, which is autoimmune disease today. Autoimmune disease is on the rise. It's a major, major problem. And of course, nobody out there talks about the causes behind it, and we just spoke about digestive issues. That's a major crux and cause for autoimmune disease. There are exactly 9 autoimmune triggering bugs that can be in your digestive tract, small intestine, that can trigger an autoimmune response. And this is because, first and foremost, like we said, have stress, have digestive issues, you're not digesting effectively, you're lacking enzymes, and you can get these bugs into your intestines that eventually start to wear on your small intestinal barrier. There's literally a skin barrier between your small intestine and your bloodstream. That's called leaky gut, also known as intestinal permeability. Now, what can cause that? These bad bugs can cause it, even just dysbiotic, bad, say, bacteria as well, not just the autoimmune triggering bugs, but also glyphosate. Have you heard of glyphosate? Glyphosate is Roundup, that pesticide weed killer, and it's found on wheat. It is literally sprayed on wheat. In this country, you cannot get wheat unless it's imported from some other country that does not have glyphosate. So glyphosate can cause intestinal permeability and damage your intestinal lining. Then when these things, whether it be the autoimmune triggering bugs, fall into your bloodstream, or this undigested food falls into your bloodstream, then your immune system looks at that and says, hey, you know what, that looks just like your joint tissue, rheumatoid arthritis, it looks like your brain tissue, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, things of that sort, or it looks like your pancreas, or it looks like your kidneys. Hence, it switches and becomes autoimmune. That's kind of one process that occurs. So autoimmune, and imagine your immune system is constantly attacking your tissues. You're going to be tired, inflamed, fatigued, all that terrible stuff that you don't like. So therefore, what should you do? What type of testing should you do? I would say first and foremost, if you're experiencing autoimmune issues, certainly go get a gastrointestinal test. One of my favorite tests, and it's a cutting edge test that you will not find with your standard medical doctor. We do it, and there's several tests that we like. The Gut Zoomer test, or Gut Zoomer Plus, and it's really cutting edge science. Secondly, a GI map, also cutting edge science that we've done. And guess what? We've solved so many cases of gastrointestinal problems as well as autoimmune disease. Imagine solving autoimmune disease. Why? Because people can actually heal, because you're dealing with the root cause. I'm not treating autoimmune disease, don't get me wrong. I treat, cure, and heal nothing. Ultimately, the real doctor for you is you. And if we work on the root cause, we're never treating anything, the problem goes away. It's awesome. So autoimmune can make you tired. Why? Because your immune system's constantly working to attack your tissues instead of just bugs and bad foreign invaders. Next, speaking of gastrointestinal, can be food allergies. Food allergies. Another thing we can put on top of that too can be environmental allergies. They can also make you tired. Anything that activates your immune system and does it chronically can make you more tired and fatigued. So you need proper food allergy testing. And I would also recommend that you do something with a functional medicine doctor as opposed to your medical doctor. You can start there, but you really need to know more detail and have more variety of foods. So we use several different tests here. There is a food allergy testing through a company that we use that is called Vibrant Health. We also do food allergy testing through another company called Cyrex. Really, really good to know that stuff. As compared to, well, I can't eat dairy. You know, you might know one or two of these things that bothers you, but if it bothers you, guess what? Your immune system's active and you're going to be tired. Not good. So that's the testing. And what are the solutions then? Would be to, of course, identify those bad foods, remove them from your diet, but also improve your digestion, get some digestive enzymes going and some probiotic bacteria. And this is going to cover the last three: gastrointestinal infection, autoimmune, as well as food allergy. Because if you can digest effectively your food and break it down to its component parts, then you're less likely to develop food allergies when your body can really know and see vitamins and minerals and essential fatty acids and essential amino acids. It makes it a little bit more difficult for you to develop an allergy. How about improper digestion as the next one? And again, that just makes sense because we kind of talked about that, but have stress, shuts down enzyme production, and you can even have another problem. There can be an infection in your stomach that's called H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori, that can also cause indigestion and difficulties with your stomach right at the very top of your digestion and set the stage for improper problems below in your lower digestion. So improper digestion, classically caused by stress. Testing would be this gastrointestinal testing that we're talking about, either a GI map or gut zoomer test, as well as taking, on the solution side, taking some digestive enzymes. Let's get the digestion working. That's really, really important. Another one, stealth pathogens. Now, I don't know if you've heard this term before. Pathogen means bad bug. Stealth means doctors classically don't test for these. One we can say can be H. pylori. And I would say that more likely than not today, 2022, there's a lot of gastroenterologists that will do the testing and check you for H. pylori as one. There can be Epstein-Barr. That's that infectious mononucleosis, the chronic fatigue syndrome that occurred back when you were probably a younger person. And then when that happens, that can make you definitely tired and fatigued. Matter of fact, some people that get that, they can be tired and fatigued for 4 to 6 months. Not a really good infection, not a really good problem to develop, but hey, it happens. Another thing too, most recently discovered that the bad bug that recently occurred in 2020 and 2021, that infection can reactivate Epstein-Barr if you had Epstein-Barr back in the day. Chickenpox, it turns into something that's called what? Do you know what that is? Chickenpox. If you've had chickenpox back in the day as a child, you get shingles these days. Of course, they have a shingles vaccine. I'm not a big fan of that because what brings on shingles is stress. But stealth pathogens can be behind the scenes, and there are testing that you can do. You can test for antibodies for Epstein-Barr and see if you have a lot of them. Doesn't necessarily mean you have an infection, but you want to try to get rid of these stealth infections. And there are protocols, nutrient protocols, herbal protocols that can actually really knock down the Epstein-Barr infections and these stealth pathogen infections, because what you're doing at the same time, you're really strengthening your immune system. So what a great thing to do. Stealth pathogens, bad things. Really big reason for exhaustion, tiredness, and fatigue can be your thyroid. Thyroid gland, little gland sits in front of your neck here. And ladies, you're 6 times more likely to develop thyroid problems. Classically, what we're talking about is low thyroid, hypothyroidism. And if you're a lady and you have low thyroid, 9 times out of 10, it's not a thyroid problem. It's really an immune problem. It's Hashimoto's. Hashimoto's is autoimmune thyroid, where your immune system is attacking and destroying thyroid function. Bad thing. And what happens with this is not only are you tired and fatigued, you also can't sleep, you can be depressed, you can gain weight, and you can't lose weight. Your hair falls out, you're losing the lateral 1/3 of your eyebrows, dry, scaly skin, your nails break. It just is an absolute full body mess. Why? Because your thyroid affects every cell in your body. It's a big deal. So thyroid, and really getting to the root cause behind it, which classically is an immune system issue, is an autoimmune issue. And since we just talked about autoimmune, where should you probably look first? Your gut, your digestive tract. Certainly a great thing to do is to start supporting your thyroid when you reach the age of 40. There's several products out there. I think there's a desiccated thyroid product that you can take that it just has naturally occurring bits of some of the hormones, and it really just supports thyroid function really well. But I would say, ladies, if you're putting on weight, you're getting more tired and fatigued, your hair starts falling out, you probably should be checking your thyroid function. The testing that you would do would probably be some good blood work. Now here's the problem. Go to your medical doctor, they will test you typically on 1 marker for thyroid. When there are 10 markers, you really need to do all 10 markers to really get the bigger picture of things. We do a comprehensive blood work that includes all 10 markers. The 2 that you want to include would be the autoantibodies, thyroglobulin antibodies, as well as TPO antibodies. This is the proof whether or not it's autoimmune or it's not. And then we also include a bunch of inflammatory markers in there. Your blood sugar markers are in there, kidney function, everything. We do comprehensive blood work so you can really find root causes of these problems. That's what you'll need. You'll need more thyroid markers than just TSH. We had a patient the other day. She said, oh, my thyroid's fine, but she has all the symptoms. We looked at her blood work that she received from her doctor, and guess what? They did TSH. We did our blood work and found out that she definitely had low thyroid, but it's because we could see all the rest of the markers. Her T4, which is that thyroid hormone that your thyroid primarily produces. T3 is the active form of thyroid hormone, and you need to be able to convert your T4 into T3. The problem is, if your liver does over 60% of that conversion, and if your liver's not happy and not working as well as it should, you're going to have underconversion, and therefore you don't end up with the final product, which is plenty of T3 hormone, so that your metabolism is nice and high and normal, where it should be. So there's a lot to thyroid, but you need more markers than TSH. Solutions would be do this type of testing first so you can see what you're up against, and the solutions are look at it holistically, give your biochemistry and your body back the nutrients that are missing. And sometimes people have to take some thyroid hormone when their thyroid's practically destroyed. I get that, that's okay. But let's shore up your body with all of the raw materials necessary to create normal thyroid function, then see where things kind of balance out. So thyroid's a really critical factor for your energy. Lastly, we're going to talk about cellular health, health of your cells. And I've been finding this is a major, major problem for many, many years, maybe almost, it's pushing towards 20 years I've been looking at cellular health. And these are the people that come in, they have low energy, and inside your cells, it's been said that you have 37 trillion cells, plus or minus. In the center of your cells are little battery packs that are called mitochondria. Mitochondria basically take a series of, from your food, and it breaks it down into acetyl-CoA that starts this thing that's called the Krebs cycle or citric acid cycle. All doctors have had this biochemistry and they used to know it really well. This entire cycle that ultimately ends up taking these nutrients and creating ATP at the end of it, energy, which is your energy. That's where all energy really comes from. It's completely nutrient-based. Every aspect from this stage to the next is particular nutrients. So there is a test that we can do to test directly for this, and it's called an organic acids urine test. Unfortunately, your medical doctors typically won't do this testing because it doesn't fit into their narrow scope of what they do. If it's not in basic and minimal blood work, they don't do the testing. So you have to go do something that's more holistic or functional medicine like myself. Beautiful test. It can show you exactly where the problem's at. It can show you exactly which nutrients are missing, and then you start giving your body back these nutrients, and guess what? The Krebs cycle begins to work right, and you start to have more energy. Now, is that treating disease? No, it's giving your body back. It's feeding your body targeted nutrients to get your cells to work correctly. We have other testing that we do. I have a full body scanning technology in my office that's non-invasive, but it measures cellular function, and basically we end up with this look to see where your cells are at. And if it's really low cellular health, it's this dark green color that's not such a good thing. And these people typically will come in and they'll say, you know what? I've tried everything. And they kind of look at me sideways and like, well, what are you going to do for me? Because they don't believe that they can improve because they've been through it. They're just skeptical and cynical. And I totally get that. But many times we talk about some major barriers to healing, and cellular health is a major barrier to healing. If what you're eating, let's just say you're eating the perfect, pristine diet and food, you're taking the most expensive and best nutrients, vitamins and minerals and herbs on the planet, and nothing is changing, that's a really good indicator that the health of your cells might be an issue. Hence, you need to go that way and look at and do those tests to really see what's going on there. So cellular health, critical in your ability to have energy in your body. Hope this helps. Solutions on that side of the last thing that we talked about, cellular health, solutions will be those targeted nutrients that we discover on the testing. And it just works. If you do the right testing, and this is what I would say in summary of this entire thing. First and foremost, yes, you might have low energy. Secondly, you need to do the right testing to figure out which of these 10 items could possibly be your root cause. Do the right type of testing to determine the right types of solutions, and guess what? This problem can go away. Could you have more than one of these causes? Absolutely. And this is why holistic healthcare is what it's about. It's like looking at the whole body to see, okay, do you have stress? Most people do. That can be a big deal. Most people have blood sugar issues. Most people don't sleep well or get enough sleep. Many people have a gastrointestinal problem. So we're already at 4 or so of these issues. Food allergies can also come up as well in that process of improper digestion. And that's another one there. Of course, thyroid could be an issue, and then, of course, cellular health issues. So imagine if you had more of these than less of these. You had 5, 6, or 7 of them. This is why you need to look at your body holistically. Choose the correct testing based on what we're discovering here as root causes. And guess what? The solutions will come. You will feel and function better like you haven't felt in many years. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Write them down in the comments, leave them in the comments, or you can email me at draugustine@gmail.com. Or you can reach out to my office. My office phone number is 562-860-3404. I'm also on social media. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, as well as YouTube. So please give me a follow there. I'm also on Apple and Spotify podcasts, as well as the rest of the podcasts. So please subscribe and give me a like there as well. And my name is Dr. Augustine from Head to Wellness. I hope this helps. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.